It's time for the Creator Town Hall here on Studio Live today, and I'm not going solo. Yes, we've got another guest this week. In fact, his community is already here chanting, "We want Mike, we want Mike, we want Mike." So why would we make them wait any longer? Let's bring him in. The man with the plan is Mr. Mike from Creative Source. Yeah, you do. Oh, why did I go FM radio DJ? Hi, Mike. How are you? He's already frozen.
I spent most of my time recently doing this.
Pointing at stuff. I nearly swore in the first 30 seconds. How about that? The problem is, Mike, you get the pointing down, but you haven't quite got the goofy one.
No, I don't like that. I don't like that because I don't want people to see the inside of my mouth. It's disgusting.
It is a bit gross, isn't it? I must admit, I've been looking at some thumbnails lately from other folks. I'm like, what did you eat for breakfast? Like, I think I can see the remnants of it there.
I know.
It is a bit weird. Go on. Sorry.
You go. It's your bloody show.
Kind of. In case it's your first time here, this is what this show is, by the way. This is about as organised as we get, because we're just going to have a bit of a yarn. But for the few folks that don't know who you are, Mike, because I know you, like I said, your community has followed you here. They've been hanging out in the lobby for about half an hour, just saying, "Where's Mike? Mike, we want Mike. Where's what he's going to say?"
I'm very proud of them. Can I say hello to some of them real quick?
Of course you can.
They're
Go
here.
for it.
First of all, I like to read out this username.
Yep.
Arseface77. Can I say it again? Arseface77. Arseface. We got 715 music. That's Tula.
Yep.
Is his real name. And I saw Mimo Japan is of course there because he's everywhere. He's sort of like God, really. He's just
he's
everywhere.
Omnipresent.
He's omnipresent. He's omnipresent, and he can do anything. He can, we should just, whatever the Japanese word is for God, we should call Mimo that. We've got Nick Ellis has just said hi. Nick's awesome, really, really nice guy. Very nice to see him in here. And let me see. I think. Ashley. Ashley.
G'day,
Ashley.
make you go, g'day, Ashley. Nice. Well, Dino Pileggi is someone that I'm not familiar with, so maybe that's someone from
Dino,
your side.
Sorry, I missed Dino. G'day, Dino. How you go? Look, isn't it lovely to have all these cakewalkers in here?
Well, I did sort of tease it when I put it out there. I said, maybe Mike will come along and convince me that I need to use Cakewalk and go back to the PC site, because I have. I don't know if you've noticed,
that's not
Mike,
going to
but
happen, is it?
I've drunk the Kool-Aid, and I'm now a full-on Apple fanboy.
I know, and you had news, didn't you? You had news in the last couple of days.
We had an announcement. Our God and Savior Tim Cook. Oh, sorry, that's a bit inappropriate.
I know.
Our Lord and Shepherd Tim Cook came on stage and told us about all the cool new Apple things we can buy. And
is that why on the thumbnail for this show you had a little bit of an ejaculation coming out of the Creative Source bottle? Is that? Do you think I was going to be excited too?
I thought you might be a bit excited by that. No, I liked it. As you know, you don't know the behind the scenes stuff, but I sent Mike a couple of mock-ups, and again, if what you should be is like community members or Patreon members or like Discord members. We'll probably go through this stuff on Discord because we'll talk about that a bit later as well. But yeah, we had some ideas first, and the one that we finally got with your logo ejaculating on my logo was the final. That was the tamest version of the thumbnail that we put together. So no, I don't quite know where that came from. Just as soon as I saw your little bottle logo and then I saw myself there, I'm just like, that bottle logo looks good, but it just needs a couple of drops coming out the tops.
Be a little bit worrying, wouldn't it? Yellow cum. Anyway, I'm not supposed to say that, am I?
If you think it's going to get on rails more than this, you're probably wrong. So I apologise. But I'm going to say hello to the folks because, again, it's a coming together not getting better. It's a coming together of our communities here. And we'll talk community in a minute because I think it's pretty cool. But I want to say good day to the Lily Pillies, who is a bit of a crossover. Because I know you played Lily Pillies on a Fix My Mix episode. Yeah. We'll talk about that later. So the Lily Pillies are here. Manny from the Lily Pillies. Gregory S. Sullivan over in Melbourne Towns there. Ashley, we talked about. Sion, who is an iOS creator. So he'll be happy about all the Apple announcements as well. We've got Alex Backus out of Germany. It is a good time for our Japanese, our German, our UK, our European, our Australian friends. I know many of them can jump in. And even folks like Timothy, who it's 4 a.m. for Timothy over in North America, and he's still tuning on in. So we do thank you all.
Welcome, Timothy,
for being here as well. And it wouldn't be a show without Jade Starr checking in as well.
Oh, is Jade here? Oh, there's Jade. Hi,
there's
Jade. I hope you're feeling better, Jade. I know that Jade hasn't been feeling at all well recently.
Absolutely, and no, I hope so too. I mean, she's a trooper because she's continuing to do her show even though she's been not 100%. And the same as Samantha Ed, she was not well as well. Here she is here out of Adelaide. So we've got plenty of Australians here. Feeling a bit worse today than yesterday. That's not great. Hopefully, you didn't catch multiple things. Well, the good news, Sam, is you won't catch anything on this show. We cannot virtually infect you with anything apart from our infectious personalities. Let's talk about community. I'm shifting up the order here today. We're just going to throw out some things here and talk about some things because you've just started a Discord, Mike from Creative Source. How's that going? Because you've got the most successful cakewalk group on all of Facebook with more than 4,000 members, and now you're attacking the young person's domain of Discord. What prompted this, mate?
It's only a matter of time before I'm on Snapchat, and I don't know what that is still.
You need to be on TikTok, mate. Snapchat is so 2019.
Is it?
2022 is TikTok all the way. Well, that's what TikTok. The young people. That's my children tell me.
Didn't TikTok used to be Musically? It used to be Musically, did it? Yeah,
it did. Music.ly. It was basically a dancing and lip syncing app that people would just make little 30-second videos, and a bit like Instagram was originally for people taking photos of their breakfast, and now it's like the biggest social media platform in the world. Yeah, Musical.ly turned into TikTok, and now TikTok's taken over the world and stealing all your data. I'm helping you share your fun times with the world. But what's happening here? Why Discord and why now? And how's it going?
By popular demand, really. Well, as in 2 people asked me, "Could you open a Discord?" And I thought that's popular enough for me.
Do it.
2 people ask me to do anything, I'll probably do it. So I've got to be careful, haven't I?
There you go. In the chat, 2 people asked Mike to do something weird, and you never know.
So I have used Discord for a while, and a little bit here and there because there is a Cakewalk Discord which I've been a member of for a long time, and but I don't sort of often go in there. There's too many platforms, isn't there, really? I mean, if you're like us and if you've got business being in there, you just sort of join them, but there's sort of too many. So I thought, some people would ask me over time whether I would do that, whether I would open up a Creative Source, and I did it. And it's really good, actually. It's very, very good. The feature that I used on there, though, a couple of times, which I kind of really like. There I am. Look,
there you are. Look at that.
With my legs. Pete, I noticed. I do have legs, and it's. I don't want to give away the mystique here, but this is what I wear mostly for every video: shorts with a black t-shirt or some kind of grey t-shirt. And I noticed, Pete,
you wear shorts with a black t-shirt, mate. Is that what you're going with? Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Now, I noticed in the pre-show when you went off to use the John. That I got a rear view of your legs.
You did. I
did. Should we just show people how we both are from the? Let's just do that quickly. Yeah, from the waist down. Yeah. All right. I've got some crackers here. Look at that. Yeah. I've got some. Yeah. Look at those.
I got the Mossmos, the Target Special, the Target. And they're actually grey. The grey Mossmo shorts. So you got to see the. You got to see the butt.
I am a mix. I am actually a mix of Australian and English. So the top half of me is Australian, but the bottom half that you saw there is most definitely English. Yes, anyway. Oh, Pete's frozen. That means I'm in charge of the whole show. Oh, awesome. This is going to be fun, isn't it? Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Studio Live today. He's back.
This. Welcome to my world, mate. Welcome to the world of the NBN. I know you're on Wi-Fi, but I'm going to blame my ass for knocking me off that time, because I've had to jump over. And I know you've lived this world as well, where you have such poor internet that you have to jump onto the mobile broadband to actually get yourself a signal. So even though I'm on NBN, and even though I've got like 30 megabit uploads, it just falls away for no apparent reason. And that time I'm blaming my own ass, because it was as soon as I showed my ass that the internet just fell in a hole. So, but that's all right. I'm sure you kept things running there, because you do like to throw me under the bus sometimes on your show, where you're just like,
it was great. It was great. I mean, but yeah. So the legs thing it's part of the illusion, folks. We actually have really awful legs.
It's true. 100% true. We have old man legs. But now we've had some folks ask if are you comfortable for me to throw your Discord invite? Can we invite people to your Discord that are watching?
I'll go for it. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care.
I'll see if I can work out how to do it, because this is going to be interesting, because I still don't know how to do things. Invite people, or look, I can invite people. I can copy a link. And I'm going to invite people to the Creative Source Discord. So I'm going to type this into the chat, Creative Source Discord, and I'm going to put a link there. So go over and start spamming Mike and telling him your most intimate, deep, dark secrets. And you know what, mate? I was so inspired by you that I created my own Discord at the same time. So I've also, because you know what we do? We've been copying each other for nigh on 3-4 years now, mate. I've now got a Discord as well. So I'm going to put the SLT.
I've actually got a whole group of YouTubers who I know, and we all copy each other all the time. We copy content, we copy thumbnail ideas.
Yep.
We call it sharing.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's good.
You know what it is? It's like, don't they say that it's the best form of flattery? Is that not copying? What do they call it? Like plagiarism? No. There's a nicer word for it. Someone will tell me in the chat. What is it that's the best form of flattery? Like, what's the word for copy? Oh, my brain is not functional tonight. But yes, it is. So yeah, don't be afraid to copy people. And now I'm seeing people jumping into the Discord, because I'm hearing the blop blop. So
awesome. Now, what I've decided on my Discord, I don't know about yours. I haven't gone to yours yet. But I will.
I noticed that. I tried to tag you in to promote this show, and I'm just like, Mike is not even in my Discord. I can't even tag him.
I'll go there.
Look at this.
I'll go there. I'll go there now. But what I've decided is you know this, that you have a lot of cross-pollination is the word with your social media posts. You do a little bit of the similar thing perhaps in Facebook as you do in Instagram and other places. And I decided that Discord won't be like that there's going to be some different stuff in Discord. It's a lot more casual. I know some people want to do things like talk about cakewalk and stuff in my cakewalk Discord, but I'm not really much. So I've decided just to chuck stupid shit in there mostly, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how not too stupid, but yeah, I'm in yours anyway. I've just left again.
There you go. Yeah, I like it. And you did say that. Yet the picture we just showed there was on your Instagram and your Facebook and your YouTube. So you are just doing the same.
I'm not being consistent. But my intention was
that was the intention. I like it.
So, one of the good things you can do there, Pete, and if you don't do this, you're just not very nice to your fans. Now that I'm saying this, is there's a audio chat area in there.
I saw that.
Works really well. A couple of times I've gone in there and just been kind of random, just said to people, hey, I've got some time spare if anyone wants to chat. And we've had a few people in there. And it's a bit weird, isn't it? Because I've got to see people's faces. I know their names on the screen in the comments section or whatever, but then you see them like in real life talking, and for a minute you go, that doesn't, because you've made a little bit of an imaginary image of that person in your head, and then it's not there. But it's really good, really good. You get to know people in a different way when you can have a chat with them like that. So given that the topic here is communities, I think it's a really awesome little tool. I know you can do it on other platforms, but I thought the way it works in Discord was really good.
I like
It's like a Zoom meeting, really. But
So, and is it video? Because I thought it was audio only. It's video too.
No, it's video and audio. People can opt out of the video. I know some people don't like to be seen on video, but I don't care.
Yeah. Okay.
If you could do smelly vision with me, I'd probably opt in for that as well.
What do you think? Please leave in the chat or in the comments on this video. What do you think Mike smells like? Now, Mike and I have never met in person, so I've got no insight into this. But I think pool chalk. I think you know that smell of chalk when you're playing a game of pool at the pub. That's like beer, like spilt beer and pool chalk. That's what I imagine Mike smells like. I don't know why, but that's what it is. Which is weird because you're not much of a drinker, but for some reason I'm going with pool chalk at the pub. So let me know. I'd like to hear, especially with the Creative Source fans, what you think of Mike and his smell. Big YouTubers do that, don't they? They have clothing brands and things like that, right? And maybe I should have like a mustard brand or something. Well, that is your colour. I mean, you're more into blue and purple these days, but it's always been about the yellow. And so does that make it lemon scented? Are you like a fish tablet?
But maybe I won't do the mustard. Maybe I'll go the Creative Source cologne. This will be when you get to, this is when you get to about 300,000 subscribers or something like that. It's when you go off and do these.
Does that mean is there a Rick Beato scent out there? Because that would be creepy. That would just smell like anger and disdain. We're talking community, a
bit rude.
That is a bit rude. I know. I know he's one of your mentors as well. I think you've said to me before, just like I said about Joe Gilder, if a chunky dude with the bald head and beard can be a YouTuber, I think you said if an old bloke with grey hair can be a YouTuber, then I can too. So there you go. I've just managed to offend Joe Gilder and Rick Beato at the same time. We've done well.
Shall we sing? This is for Joe and for Rick. You're the inspiration.
Oh, Joe Esposito, Karate Kid deep cut. If you don't know that, from the Karate Kid soundtrack, 1987, Mike bringing the hits. Go and join my Discord. Go join Mike's my Discord and Mike's Discord. And now that I know that there's voice chat, why doesn't everyone just leave this chat and just go and chat to each other on Discord? You'll have probably
we could just go
fun.
in there and just chat to everyone.
We'll just go in there live on here. That would ruin my mix minus, I think. Let's talk. You had a video this week, mate. You had a video about presets, and apparently Mike from Creative Source hates presets, and anyone who uses presets is a giant idiot. Can you tell us why you feel so strongly about this topic?
That was why the very first few seconds of the video I said, I'm not making this video to make you feel bad, because I hate there's a borderline, isn't there, between saying to people, don't do this, and oh my God, you're so dumb, right? So I didn't want to do that. I never want to do that because most of the time I'm so dumb. So that's how I get through the day. But it's a great thing about being a YouTuber. You get to edit out all the dumb mistakes you make.
It's true.
Right?
Oh, you should see the behind the scenes. Go to Discord, find the behind the scenes. Yeah. I wanted to persuade people in the video as to why a lot of the time presets are not. Do you use presets, Pete, a lot? Or? Yeah, so it depends. Here's the thing. I've never used EQ presets. I learnt very early on. So I used an app called Reaper to start with. And Reaper was really cool. And I know many people use Reaper still to this day because it's on Mac and PC. And it's kind of like, it's similar to Cakewalk in that you can do everything and it's really cheap / free. But it had a 12-band EQ. And I remember very early on, and I think you did the exact same thing in your video. I went to the presets of the Reaper EQ and I put on the male singer EQ. And it did the funkiest stuff. It just put all these things in there, and I played it back and I'm like, well, that sounds like a giant piece of turd, doesn't it? I'm like, at that point I'm saying, all I really want to do is just drop this one frequency a little bit. And I realized at that point that for things like EQ and even compression and some of these things, presets can be more dangerous than they are helpful sometimes. And you made the point around learning things. I'd like you to kind of extrapolate on that here. Do you think that presets are actually damaging to people's learnings? And how do you think people should approach a plugin if they're not going to use presets?
So I think that I've got some bad news here for anyone who just loves shortcuts. There's some things that just isn't really a reasonable shortcut to.
Yep.
I would even suggest to people this, and I'm going to use compression as the most prominent example for me, because probably of all of the types of effects we use, I think that compression is the one which most people struggle to understand and implement.
100%.
So here's a revolutionary idea. Don't use it. Like, you don't have to use compression all the time, okay? So in my opinion, poorly used compression is actually often worse than no compression at all, really, to be honest with you.
Yep.
But the key as well is to use it lightly, not to go overboard with it as well. But yeah, I feel bad. I'm going to have a little jab at other YouTubers now, in general, without mentioning any names. I feel like, and I did put a link to a video that I've got about compression, which I really want to redo and make it even more simplified. But I think YouTubers or anybody, people who write articles or whatever, really explain compression really, really badly all of the time. And they've created this kind of mystique about it, right? So I don't know if this is revolutionary to anyone in the chat or watching, but here's the thing about compression. Do you know what it does? It controls volume. It's a volume control, and it does it automatically. It just responds to signals. You go, oh, it's a bit too loud now, I'll turn it down. Oh, and then we just say, well, how much do you want to turn it down by? Shh, that's ratio, by the way. Oh, okay, it's got above, my dad's listening level. He's saying, turn that music down, right? So I'm doing that. How much, Dad? That's the ratio, okay? Yeah. How quickly should we turn it down? That's the attack, all right? And then how long should we turn it down for? That's the release, all right? But it's a volume control. It's just like you've got your finger on. How come nobody ever mentions this? Because do you ever think, Pete, that there's an element to audio engineers where they want to keep their club a little bit private and make it so they're going to use fancy words and things? Yeah,
I think exactly that. And I think many people in this community know that I've ranted on that a bunch of times. And I think that sometimes things are made to seem much more complex than they are, just so that the people that know the information, and anyone that's worked in the corporate world knows this. They know that Janet in accounts doesn't tell Louisa how to do the payroll, because if Louisa knows, then suddenly Janet is less valuable, and she's not the only one who knows the secret source, the creative source of how to do the accounts. And I think it's exactly the same, that sometimes people just shroud things in this mystery, as opposed to saying, you know what? Yeah, compression it's a way to level out your volume in an automated way without having to turn your volume up and down all the time. And it's the same with EQ. And you sort of talked through this in your video, which is that EQ, it's just a volume control for different frequencies.
Exactly.
And yeah, it does have, some EQs have different sort of flavors, and people can argue to the cows come home that, this EQ, the Pool Tech EQ is going to do this to your sound, and whatever. But at the end of the day, turning up. And I know you veered away from saying it's just like the bass and the treble on your stereo. It's not exactly like that. But it's similar to that. You're grabbing a frequency and you're saying, hey, let's make this louder or softer. And all the compressor's doing is doing that in an automated way, and you just set it and forget it, and it's as simple as that. So
the thing that comes after that, though, with compressors is then, and I alluded to this in the video, is then knowing what the knobs do. It only kind of gets you kind of halfway there, or a bit more than halfway there, because at least you know it's now just a volume control. Yeah. But then you want to be starting to understand the nature of some sounds. And I did this a little bit in the video, and I'd invite people to do this. Go into, your DAW or what have you, and look at the waveforms of different instruments, a bass guitar or whatever. And if you can, think about timing as well in terms of milliseconds, how long that, let's use a word, transient. Okay, what's a transient? It's that bit at the beginning where we quickly go from zero, or not always quickly, but often quickly from zero up to a kind of a peak initial level. And then it drops to the decay. So that's the transient, right?
Yep.
So start to understand how transients are different with different sounds. Now then you can start to go, okay, well, what do I want to do to this sound? Do I want the transient to be prominent and then the rest, to disappear quickly? Or or what have you. You know, do I want the tail of the sound to extend? You've got to then start thinking, right, how do I use that combination of threshold, ratio, attack, and release to manipulate that sound in the way I want to do it? Or what I want to do to that sound. Now this is why I said at the beginning there's a little bit of bad news here, because that takes some experience, right? But guess what? Every single time you use a preset, you're avoiding gaining that experience, and you're holding yourself back. You're holding yourself locked into a certain position of learning. And that's
I like it.
Now there's just a little exception there, because somebody in my Discord commented on this. And I can't quote them word for word or even remember their name, which is incredibly rude of me, so sorry. But they're saying, hey, you know, sometimes I've only got a few hours available to record, and if I sat there trying to learn about this, that, you know, I'll be there, I'll never get it done, and they were sort of implying that they would lose their enthusiasm.
Yep.
And I think that's really important. You know, why are you here? Are you making music because you want to be the next big thing? Or perhaps, like many people in my community, they've reached an age in their life where they've finally got time to record again. And it's just a very pleasurable and fun experience to sit in their man cave or woman cave and make some music, right? And I think it's very, very, very valid that we don't all have to be aiming to be the next Grammy Award winning producers and refine our techniques. Do what makes you happy. You know, enjoy.
We say that around here a lot. Do what makes you happy. We all rise together. You know, mistakes make you better. So, yeah, it is spot on. And, and I think for some things, presets are great. Like if you're using a synth, and like, I don't know if you've ever used any like modular synth apps and things where I've got no idea. I don't know how to dwiddle any of those knobs. So I just go sawtooth extreme, and then it shows me what it does. So I think sometimes you can learn what the knobs do. When it's a more complicated kind of plugin or instrument, it'll help you. And again, it all comes back to what I think that most people forget to say. And I know we, as YouTubers, as content creators, we don't often have the time to say this. Otherwise, people will click off and watch something else. But basically, every video needs to start with the words "in my experience" and "in my opinion." And if we all did that, if we all just said "in my experience," "in my opinion" a little bit more often, I think it would be a much better place, because so many times people make definitive statements about what you must do. And I just want to let folks know that the reason we say that's what you must do or should do or whatever is because otherwise the YouTube algorithm won't show our videos to you.
But can I just get this straight? Are you saying that all YouTubers should say that at the beginning of every video? Or are you saying in your experience, YouTubers should?
In my opinion, all YouTubers should say, "in my opinion," at the start of every opinionated video. Well done. Good call. So this is why I get Mike on the show, because he calls me out on my BS. Let's go to the chat. Not because I'm trying to avoid things, but let's go to the chat. So Ashley says, just finished watching the presets video, EQ and compression. So that is getting some value out of that, Ashley. Which is good. Tom Calhoun, hello to you, who's dropped on in here. Gregory Sullivan says, I'm a giant idiot. I love my Cubase's presets. No, and again, we're not saying don't use your presets, but learn from your... That's the other thing. Presets can actually help you learn.
No, he's not talking there about presets. Because he's using Cubase is why he's calling himself. Burn.
Oh, hello.
No, I think that is awesome. Yep.
It's pretty good. It's old school. Hello, Clayton von Kluge, who is here as well. I did see another... this is clearly... Again, in Clayton von Kluge's opinion, this dude, Creative Source, is a smart cookie about music. He's a good egg. In my opinion, Clayton. You got to remember to say that, because some people have
Clayton.
Different opinions. Friggsy's here as well.
Hey,
Friggsy.
Friggsy.
Did I have Friggsy on the show last week? That was a cool interview.
Oh, didn't know that. No. I'll have to go back and watch that. That'd be fascinating.
It's a bit of crossover, because Friggsy's someone who's been part of your community, and is also part of the community
definitely.
here at Studio Live today. So
cool.
We got some cool people.
I should probably have Friggsy on my show now, because we've got a long tradition of me doing things 2 weeks after you've done them.
In my opinion, Mike copies everything that I do. No, not true. There you go. People want to keep you dumb about compression so they can... Ooh, there you go. Is Jade Star right here? People want to keep you dumb so they can make more content. Do you think
No, I disagree with Jade about the motivation.
Ooh, okay.
So I think a lot of this is my theory, and it's not based on any evidence whatsoever.
In your opinion,
but in my opinion, so you often talked, Pete, about something called imposter syndrome.
yes, I do.
Yeah, explain to the folks what that is. Now you're on my show.
So imposter syndrome is the concept where you are doing something and it's something new to you and you are feeling like you don't belong. You're feeling like at any point in time someone is going to call you out and say, actually, it's a gang. Well, actually, you don't know what you're talking about, because if you knew what you're talking about, you'd know that EQ is actually this and compression is actually that. And so that's the imposter syndrome. And starting a new job is the classic imposter syndrome, where you walk into a new place and you're like, I hope no one finds out that I don't know how to use Excel, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. Exactly. So one of the, I guess, mechanisms that sometimes people may use in order not to be found out for being a kind of a fraud of some kind is to use terminology and technical terms that is like a signal to other people, I know what I'm talking about. I'm in the know. I'm in the club, right? Unnecessary use of certain things. So, I don't really, I'm a bit in two minds about this.
Yeah.
But it's like when I go to do, some people have complained about some of my headphone reviews that I've done, or microphone reviews that I've done, you see.
Yeah.
Some people have complained that I didn't really dig into the minute aspects of the specifications, And I already think, as soon as I use the word headroom, I've literally, ironically, I've gone above everyone's heads. So I just don't like it. I'm sorry if people don't agree with me, but I just think the most important thing about a microphone is I'm going to point it at someone, do a recording, and what do you think of that sound? I can't even tell you if it's good or not. Really, it's up to you to decide whether it's good or not. Yeah. And the rest of it, I don't even care how big the capsule is, or I'm terrible like that.
No, and it's true. Like, to come back to what Jade said there, I think it's so true, because you can look at it on either side of this. I think there definitely are some people, like we said before, that want to keep things complicated, want to create more content. So if they can make 5 compression videos, because let's explain ratio in excruciating detail, when really it's just like, how much are we going to apply? Let's explain threshold exclusive, like when will it kick in? Like, I could do a threshold video. It's like, hi, welcome. This is Pete from Studio Live today. Threshold is when your compressor will kick in. Wanted to kick in sooner, make it lower. Wanted to kick in when it's quieter, make it higher. Okay,
video,
thanks everyone. Goodbye. That's all it is. But you could probably do a deep dive, like 6-part series on Threshold, if you really wanted to, like, do it with everything.
But let's just make a little observation here that some compressors don't actually have a threshold control.
What is with that? Some compressors.
They just have the input, so you just turn the input up. I guess it's more like a fixed threshold, just for people with some educational value here. For people watching,
we'd get comments. They'd just be like, "Oh, well, actually, my compressor don't have it."
So if you ever come across a plugin, which normally this is going to be compression plugins, which are based on old analog gear, and they won't have the threshold control. And so you just have to change the input level. They'll have an input level, so you just have to change the input until it reaches whatever the fixed threshold is of that piece of gear. That's one way it works. Anyway,
I like it. And Russ, g'day Russ 8889. He says if you layer presets, you have something new, and that's the thing. Exactly what Mike said before is that if you don't want to listen to any of what these old men are ranting about, just chuck presets on there until it sounds good, and then you win anyway, like regardless. So yeah, you don't have to do
times. I used to sometimes mess around on recordings with isotope Nectar. Nectar is a vocal processing VST. And it's one of those ones which is a combination, where it's got an EQ and a compressor and some saturation and what have you on there. De-esser, of course, and things like that. And they used to have like presets on them, like, male pop vocal and things like that. I think it was what inspired me for the video the other day. But look, sometimes you can just get lucky and you can just have your vocal on and playing and just click through the presets and you go, oh, that one sounds good.
Yeah.
And it can be great.
Absolutely.
That can work. If that works for you and you get the result, that's fine. But what's going to happen with that, again, is you haven't just learned anything in the process. So next time when you go to do that, you might not be so lucky for the next song because that preset might not work for another song. So that's the part that's going to hold you back. But good on you, Russ, if you're
right. Exactly.
chucking layers of presets on things.
I should be so lucky. Arseface likes their Arse Cave. So I just thought I'd throw that in there as well.
I don't think I want to go any further down that one.
Right. I don't want to talk about that either. I did say to Mike before, I'm like, I got 6 topics, Mike, and we'll do 10 minutes on each. We've done 2 topics and we've been here 35 minutes. So,
cool.
yeah, I think
we've
got a little
that's
bit
enough
behind.
about presets. Yeah.
Exactly. Why don't we talk about this one? Because this one's going to spark some comments and some controversy here. But both you and I advocate the use of free DAWs. Not all the time, but pretty consistently. I mean, you use Studio One sometimes. I use Logic now sometimes. But I'm the GarageBand guy. You're the Cakewalk by BandLab guy. Why should people use a free DAW, digital audio workstation, over a paid DAW? Does it even matter? And what sort of I guess conflict have you received or had over the fact that you're promoting a free DAW?
I don't really have any conflict with it, but I feel a little uncomfortable if that's going to upset some people. I'm often recognised as the Cakewalk guy, and I feel a little uncomfortable with that a little bit, because I do think that people should use whatever suits them. Yeah. So I'm not really. I don't think I've ever really said, and if I did, it was a mishap in my part, that Cakewalk is the best DAW.
Yep.
Yeah. I believe that Cakewalk is the best free DAW.
Yep.
Okay. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of the paid DAWs, I haven't checked the prices recently, but they are in the hundreds of dollars. Now, I don't know about you, Pete, but when I was 17, 18, some 20, I didn't have hundreds of dollars to spend on a piece of software.
Nope.
I would prefer that people don't use pirated software, especially when there's a situation where there's something really, really great, which is free. So what I think is that Cakewalk is the best free DAW, and I think it ranks really, really highly in DAWs overall, in my opinion.
Yep.
Now, some people love it, and even though they can afford to buy, something else, they still stick with Cakewalk. I think it's awesome. There's no reason not to. There's nothing that Cakewalk has got missing that you can't record your next album with. Definitely not, So,
yep.
So yeah, I really like I've dipped my toes in Cubase, and I thought it was really good, really, really good. Logic Pro, I've used that when I was a Mac user. I used that a fair amount. Thinking about downloading it again, actually, I just got this new Mac laptop, or an old Mac laptop, and something about popping it on there. There's something there's always something, isn't there? Let's just get this off. There's always something very, very nice about the user interfaces of Apple software, because it follows, just a really clean, nice look of the Apple operating system. And Apple obviously set very high standards early on for things like that on iOS as well. So there's always something nice about it. Yeah. But yeah, I've recorded 3 or 4 songs in Logic in the past. Really, really enjoyed it. Yeah. So free versus paid.
Whatever you reckon.
It depends on your situation, but one thing I do want to be clear about is if you're just starting out recording music, and you're a little bit worried that, if I buy into this Cakewalk thing or this GarageBand thing, is it free because, one, I'm going to get spammed lots and lots of email, and they're going to try and upsell me, and all that. No, that's not the case for either of those. And then the other thing, and then they're going to be worried that, I'm going to hit this point where I can't actually make that real pro song that I want to release via DistroKid to all the platforms. So I just had to get the sponsorship, which isn't on the show. But yeah, they're worried about it. So I just want to tell you folks that I haven't used GarageBand a lot, but I've used it. And there's no reason why you can't make really, really pro sounding music on there. I know some people say, but don't listen to those naysayers. Just take it from me. You can make great music on there. Pete shows that all the time. And the same goes for Cakewalk. And I'm just really tuned. I'm just very, very tuned into the idea that some people don't have any money, Pete. They don't have much money to spend on these things. Full stop. And I want to help those people make music. It's simple as that. It's not complex.
It's exactly right. And you and me both know this because we get those comments. And, Mike and I spend time in our comment sections and in our Facebook groups and in our Discord servers now because we're young and cool. And people are saying in there, we just want to make good music and we just want to create things. And a lot of people will start trying to say things like, oh, Mr. GarageBand, why should I use I jokingly said, Mike's going to convince me to use Cakewalk in this video, knowing that that's not what you're going to do, because you're not going to say to me, oh, Pete, reverse the last 3 years of learning. Give yourself an extra 6 months where you're not actually creating any music to learn a completely different environment and infrastructure so that you can create music using a comparative but slightly different platform. And I would not say that about GarageBand either. If anyone's not using GarageBand out there, people come onto the channel and they're like, why should I use GarageBand? I've been using Fruity Loop Studio for the last 10 years and I make fire beats. And I'm like, well, keep making your fire beats in Fruity Loop Studio. I'm not telling you to use GarageBand. Use whatever works for you. And exactly what you said there.
I'll tell you what, something scary that happened yesterday to me, though, just on this topic of, I noticed I'd got quite a few more Twitter notifications than I normally get, and I went in there, and there was a guy on there, I don't know who he is, and he decided he wants to record his next big song, and he's got a hold of Cakewalk to record, and he was saying on there how he's methodically working through every single Creative Source video ever made so that he could learn how to use Cakewalk before he released his song. That was a bit terrifying to me. I thought, what did I leave out? Oh, God, now I'm under pressure. I've got to make a lot more videos because there's a lot I've left out, really, isn't there? Yeah. But, yeah, look, there's no shortcuts, really. Even if you've watched all my videos.
In fact, if you watch all my videos,
you're only going to be at my level.
Right, exactly. Don't do that. Just get the few bits of wisdom that you can get from Mike and then go on and learn yourself because you're going to be much better off now. And the same with me, the same with everyone. Like, that's the thing. At the end of the day, the reason that, I say create, record, release, and you say record, mix, release, whatever it is that you plagiarized from me back in the day. The reason we say that is that we want people to actually be making music. Like, we don't care what you're using. We don't care that. And, I would say we don't care if you watch our videos, but please watch our videos. In fact, jump down the description. Please subscribe to Mike's channel. Please hit the like button and do all those. But yeah,
can I just do a little plug here as well? If you are thinking about using Cakewalk, this is the first time I've ever mentioned this. Okay, but for the last few weeks while I've been doing everything else that I've been doing, I've also been recording a series. But it's not a free series. It's my first sort of what they call course, which people can pay for. So just keep an eye out because they'll be coming out. And what I've done with that is it's a little bit similar to my record, mix, release. In a way, it's updated with everything I've hopefully learned over the years about how to teach people things. But it's recording a song in Cakewalk from beginning to end, even from setting up kind of your interface and what have you, and just setting the level of your microphone. I tried my hardest with this course to keep it really, really simple, not just for someone who's only recorded with Cakewalk for the first time, but I've aimed it at people that have never recorded using a DAW before. So look out for that. I'm getting near to completion with it. It'll come out in the next month or so is going to be my guess. And that, hopefully will be something that people Look, by the end of it, you're not going to have a Grammy Award-winning song, but you will know how to record a song, which is really important.
And again, that's all. I did the same thing. I was about to poo-poo you, then I'm like, wait, I did the exact same thing. So I've got the same thing. I've got like 5 hours of curated content from the channel, and I know you're doing it fresh, so you're actually doing it better than me. So I can't compete with that. But I also only charge $10 for mine. But yeah, and you have to promise me, Mike. So by the way, go over to if you want to learn about all the stuff that Mike's doing, and I'm sure you'll be releasing that and announcing that over on your channel. So please do go over to youtube.com/c/creative source, or just search creative source like the ketchup on the YouTubes, and you'll be able to find Mike there. You haven't been on the channel here since you hit 100k, mate. You were on here about 6 weeks ago, and you were just shy of that.
That's right,
Can we get some golf claps for Mike? I know you're a humble dude, so you're not.
I think I've celebrated my 100k just enough. Tomorrow's it's done. Tomorrow's the live show, right?
And that's actually. That's the perfection. That's the perfection. No, that's not. That's the perfect segue into what we're going to talk about here, which is giveaways. And you have this happening in 12 hours, literally in 12 hours time. So this is your 7 days of giveaways winners announcement. So for those that have been living under a rock, not like Mimo Japan, because look, he's already there commenting on. But if you've been living under a rock, what's all this then? Why did you do it? How did you do it? How did this all work? Because I must admit, I don't watch your videos, mate, so I've got no clue what's going on here. So why don't you tell me and everyone else what's happening?
Well, I really wanted to... You see, what happens is when you get to a certain size, you have influence over people who produce software or hardware, right? Mm-hmm. It means that because they know you've got an audience, they want you to talk about their stuff. And I cynically used them on this occasion to give free stuff to my viewers. That's what I wanted to do, to say thank you to my viewers. So I thought, well, they're not going to be able to say no to me on this. And somebody did say no, but we won't mention who they were. But no, they didn't. But I thought it would be just great fun to get a bunch of really expensive software and some hardware as well. I didn't do too much hardware because it's hard to get it shipped all around the world to different places. But yeah, I did 7 giveaways over 7 days. By the way, if you haven't entered yet, there's no time left. You're too late.
I was about to say, I forgot to enter. Can I enter now, Mike?
But I will be making an announcement on that during that show tomorrow, because I did think to myself, okay, this is enough giveaways. I want to get back to the normal videos, tutorials and things. I love making tutorials for people more than anything. I'm never happier than when I'm helping someone else out. And it's so not true. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, yes. So then, like a couple of days ago, a really, really big maker of software, 2 really big makers of software came to me and said, hey, we've got this amazing product coming out. Could you tell people about it? And I said, wow, that's really, really good. I mean, normally it's worth, $18,000, and you're going to be now selling it for $1,600 or whatever it is. And I was like, can we do a giveaway? And they said yes. So I'm doing another giveaway next week for this particular product, which is, I don't think I've ever given away anything as expensive as that at all. On the channel. So that's going to be next Tuesday. I think I'll be releasing a video about that. And yeah, so that I think I only told Doug about this a little bit on Facebook the other day, but this is kind of an exclusive here for you, Pete. Big giveaway. There you go. And now that you're a Logic user, you should be interested in this.
Okay, so it could be a plugin that I could use on the old desktop. And
I don't want to say plugin.
Could be an instrument. Oh, it could be.
No, let's put it more like hundreds of plugins and instruments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
Everyone's
brains are ticking away now. I like it a lot. Yeah. And for those that don't know, and look, you don't have to go too far into the weeds if you don't want, Mike, but people might be asking, Johns, why don't you do giveaways? I mean, come on, you've been doing this for 6 years and Mike's been doing it for 3 years. And why have you never given us I'm going to swear now. Why don't you give us shit? And the reason is,
Apple.
tell the folks how much effort goes into the logistics of running a sweepstakes or a giveaway, especially on YouTube, especially when you have to manage all of the stuff.
As a little behind the scenes thing, you'd think it's perfectly okay just to give things to people and that would be fine, wouldn't you? Oh, I'm just giving things to people. That should be easy.
Who would argue with that?
Yeah. Who would argue with that? Well, some people who would argue with that are the platform that we're on.
Hi, YouTube.
So... Hey YouTube, hopefully no one will see this, but no, they don't mind you giving stuff, but they're a little bit concerned that if you don't do things correctly, that they might come under some legal problem. So they've tightened up a lot about what you can do there. It was why, to be honest with you, why I had to go to great pains in all of these 7 videos to inform people that in order to enter, they definitely did not have to subscribe to my channel or like the video or leave a comment, right? They definitely. Can I reiterate it again?
Engagement and interaction is not required.
Not required. So, yes. And then, folks may not know, but then you have to make sure that you're satisfying any legal requirements for giveaways, sweepstakes for your country, and in my case, for Australia, for the state, because each state has different legislation about that as well. So I know, Pete, it would be a little bit more difficult for you than it is for me here in Western Australia.
I need to apply for a lottery's permit number. So I would actually have to go to the state government and say, I would like to run a lottery, a sweepstakes, which is a random drawing, and I would have to apply for a permit number. And every time I mention a giveaway, I would have to say, permit number SA 41217-3. So yeah, if you're wondering why I've never done it, it's because I've looked at how you do it, and I don't want any part of it because it looks like a slippery slope that I'm just not interested in. But Mike has done the work for you so that you can actually win some stuff, which is pretty cool.
I will say on this occasion, I used the service. I used to do it all manually myself. You know, you have to have official rules and there's lots of legal blah, blah, blah. But I used Gleam this time, which made it a bit easier, but it's still a lot. There's a lot. And I'm not going to get all white privilege here and kind of moan about my life, but but yeah, there's a lot of communication with the suppliers and what have you. But I was happy to do it. I'm really happy to do it. I think this one coming up next week is going to be the last one I'll do for quite a while. I'd prefer personally just to give stuff to people, but it's good fun, and everyone took part really, really well. And we get a chance to do some premieres and chat to people, and people get excited, and they should be excited. There's great prizes. Do you know I had $6,000 worth of prizes all up, 24 prizes in there. Had close to 30,000 entries. I don't know what the math works out like on that.
You're making people not want to tune in, Mike. Do you realise that? Now people think they've got absolutely no hope of...
when I say entries, one person was able to make several entries, so I'm making it sound a bit more.
So did you have to filter out that and remove duplicates and do all that fun stuff?
No, Gleam did all that for you. They have all that stuff on there for you. Just
They should be sponsoring your next video.
They should be sponsoring them. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. I thought, because I'd pre-recorded all of the videos, I thought, well, this is good. I'm just going to sit back for the week and just put those videos and just be in the chat and have a... As it turned out, there was a lot more admin work. In fact, I spent all day yesterday just doing admin work, just spreadsheets. I can
imagine it. I know it.
Yep.
That's why I don't do it. But look, 39 people already liked your video, so it's only fair that I dislike it just to keep that ratio. Okay. No, wait, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something for you here. I'm going to hit the dislike button twice. So there you go. That's all done for you there.
It's an old joke, isn't it?
That's a bit of an old joke. You can't teach an old YouTuber new jokes. We've got about 5 minutes left, so if anyone does have any If anyone does have any comments or questions for Mike or myself, or you'd like to throw anything out there, please feel free to do so. Now, look, I'm looking at my topics here. We've got a bunch of topics, but this one has just taken my fancy here. So, for those that don't know, Mike is a keen fisherman, and mate, your midlife crisis purchase was not a Fender Stratocaster like 1970s original model. It was a boat. So, for those that don't know, if you want to share, you feel free to not. But bit of a fisherman, Mike. And
can I just get the record straight a little bit here, right? Because I've had this reaction from some people. Oh, he's got a boat. He must be doing well for himself. Me and Susie bought a boat, which meant we paid half each. Right?
Nice.
About when was it? A couple of years ago. We paid $6,000 for a boat, right? So just let's not get carried away.
It's a tinny, basically. It's a
boat.
glorified
No, it wasn't a tinny.
Is it?
No, it was a bit of a glorified tinny, really. Yeah, it's just I think it's 4.8 meters long. Okay, it's not a big boat. It's just enough for two people, really. And we didn't know anything about boating at all. The learning curve has been just like that, really, really good. And it's really dangerous to not do things correctly on a boat. So I've had to be a bit careful that, I've made a few mistakes, but it's great. It's great to do something that you've never done before and learn. I've learned like so much. I've got no mate to call on who's a boatie or anything like that to take me out and show me. I mean, I did my skipper's ticket. I've got a license and I had to go along and do a bit of training for that, but that was just basic stuff. And I've just watched so many YouTube videos about it. And it opens up. YouTube's weird like that, right? If you've got a new interest, there's a whole new universe of information and different guys that are big in that universe. They're the top dogs. You've never heard of them in your life before, but they're like the kings in that little universe, right? It's always the same, isn't it? If you look up something like say, for example, something random, like say I've got my phone here, phone, and it's like an old one, and it's got a headphone jack, and I think, well, that's got a bit of dirty. I'll have to clean that out. Just if you go on YouTube and search for that, you'll find some dude you've never heard of before, and you get into him.
Oh, that is fair. For me calling you out for buying a boat as a midlife crisis, I think that's fair that you've highlighted the fact that my biggest claim to fame is that I'm the guy that helps you pick out gunk from your headphone jack with a toothpick. So I love it, and I think we've started. We're going to finish the way we started here, which is just gently jabbing it. You'll come up here and you'll think that me and Mike will just be like, man, I'm not quite sure. Do those guys love each other or hate each other? It's like it's for you to decide. Got some questions for you, Mike, before we finish up. We've got 3 minutes to go. Clayton von Kluge, do you do live Cakewalk Q&A shows here on YouTube?
You know what, Clayton? I've thought about doing that. I have. And that's always, as a YouTuber, you always end up with a to-do list, don't you, Pete? And it gets longer and longer the longer you're a YouTube. But no, definitely. I think what I'm going to do is, I've not figured out how other people do this yet. I haven't got anyone to copy, really. But I'm going to ask some people in my cakewalk group on Facebook. I think I'll ask one day, hey, I'm going to go live in 4 or 5 hours, and then ask me some questions, and maybe do you think that's the way to do it, Pete? That's how I should.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I did it. I did a garage band sort of Q&A or a home studio Q&A show for a couple of years, and I ran out of questions in the end. So I think you can do it, but I think it has a limited lifespan because eventually you answer everything and then you're just repeating yourself. So I think less is more. Don't do a weekly show, mate. That's all I'll give you with that one. Because I did it weekly, and I got about 20 weeks in and realised that I'd answered every single question.
Everything there is to ask. Yeah, there are questions, aren't they? What's the most common question, do you think, that comes up time and time again?
I mean, for me, it's how do I connect X to Y? And depends on the stuff of what X and Y is, but usually it's like, how do I connect my audio interface to my iPhone or my iPad? How do I connect my MIDI keyboard to my Mac? Connecting stuff to other stuff and the whole cabling thing. Like, what's a TS or a TRS or a TRRS or an XLR like knowing that sort of stuff is stuff that takes a long time to learn. So I think I answered that question. How do I connect a thing to another thing? almost every week on my show. What's your most common question you reckon you get about cakewalk in particular, since Clayton asked
one
about
of them would be how come the plugins are not showing? It's changing a little bit now, but there used to be the thing that when you installed Cakewalk, it was kind of optional to install some of the instruments that came with it.
Yep.
And I think people were just in a hurry to install, and they forget to check that, and they install it. So that's quite a common question: is, how come I can't see the drum plugin or what have you? And then you have to explain that you probably didn't install it. That's why you can't see it. And can I just have a bit of a whinge?
You can have like a 30-second whinge, mate, because we're nearly
frustrating question. If people post it in Facebook or on YouTube, is, hey, I've opened up my door. How come I can't hear anything? That's a little bit. I don't like to get negative, but I do feel you could probably give a little bit more information on that. Yeah,
that would be. I agree with you. Without going into detail, like if you could just give, don't give us an essay, because we're not going to read that either. Like, don't give us 17 paragraphs. But if you could just say, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm using, and here's what's happening. Not just like, I can't hear anything, what's happening? It's like, it's like walking to the doctor going, it hurts. He was like, okay, can't help you with that. Not something I can diagnose.
And the other one, I guess, is question: are you ever going to collab? We should collaborate on a song together. We've actually got remarkably similar tastes in music as well, haven't we?
We really do. We're both both
90s boys,
acoustic, folksy 90s.
Yeah, we definitely should.
Guys.
Definitely should. But I'm going to be lead vocal, okay? Just so you know, I'm lead vocal.
Goes without saying. Well,
no.
I'm backing
and the other thing about questions is, and I think it's just fair warning to anyone who emails me. If you email me and it's, this is going to upset someone, isn't it? It sounds a bit rude, but if you email me, because Pete alluded to it there, if it's a big, long, it's like many paragraphs, and you're saying like, hey, I've got the Roland XQX3PY drum pads. I'm trying to connect them to the Yamaha SQFBW. How do I set the MIDI through? Like, I don't know is the short answer. Would you like me to
read the manual for you is what you should respond to.
So, just so you know, folks, if you want to ask questions to anyone, it's a good skill to be able to get enough information. We definitely need enough information, not too much information. Don't need a backstory. I don't want to be rude or snarky about this. It's the last thing I want to be, because I want to invite people to seek
absolutely
that. But the skill of knowing how to ask for help is a skill. It's another thing that you can learn.
And assuming that Mike and I'm going to sound like a dick too. We're just coming across as the horriblest people here. But assuming that we have all the time in the world to provide free advice and free technical support for you for your audio gear situations is an assumption that you probably shouldn't be making. We'll put it that way, and we'll leave it at that, because we could go on with that. Mike, have we ever met in real life? Asks Doug.
No, but that should change soon, Doug. So
your
I live in Western Australia,
opened.
Doug. Yep. Western Australia, we have been like an island since the C word hit. It's the C word, isn't it? It's the new C word.
It is the C word. Yep.
And our borders have been tightly shut, and they're opening now, or they've opened now. So travel is possible. I'm not quite confident that that's going to be permanent. Still, I feel like our state premier could just go, no, anytime. And I could get stuck in Adelaide with Pete, sleeping on the sofa behind him or something.
I was going to say, it used to be a couch behind me. Now it's my bed that I share with my wife. So it's a king, mate. You could probably slide in the middle there. So depends if Susie's here too. You might want the couch. We'll see. See, it started inappropriate. It's getting worse. But the weird thing is, and I've not told Mike this actually. Like, this is going to be. We're still talking about fishing. We are going to finish up. But just before the all the fuckery happened. Sorry, I'm going to swear. Just before the C word. My wife was like, I was. Do you want? I was thinking of buying you a Christmas present, and I was going to buy you a ticket to Perth. Like, I had it all booked out. I had a hotel room for a couple of nights and stuff. And it was like January 2020, and or just before time, and then a whole bunch of stuff started sort of happening, and she's like, yeah, but I didn't do it because I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen with all this China stuff, and then I was like, oh, okay, and then we know what happened from there.
And it's fortunate, isn't it? Really, it's really fortunate because I didn't even like you back then, really. So it would have been embarrassing.
I would have. I know. I was thinking I have to reach out to Susie, and then she'll just be like, "Oh yeah, come over here," and then there'll be this big surprise where I'm on Mike's doors. I'm like, "I'm here," and then you'll be like, "Oh, okay." Yeah.
No. To be quite honest with you, in terms of interstate travel, Doug, I'm first of all, I just want to get on a plane to go anywhere at the moment. I don't care. But yeah, Adelaide's my first pick for sure. Yeah,
it's the closest other place that actually has anything from Perth.
Close
if you don't know
by,
Australia.
Airbnbs are awesome. I love staying in Airbnbs. You can just get some great places for not very much money, and I wouldn't want to spend too much money to go and see Pete, to be honest with you. But no. But wouldn't we? We would have a ball. I think we would probably jam together, and that would be it. It would be fun.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, and we know.
Should I bring a guitar? Or you've got enough?
I got a few around here, but bring a good guitar. I don't have the collection that you have, so that would be good.
I don't play those. I just hang them on the wall.
That's all you need to do. Look, we got the Lily Pillies over in Sydney. We got Jade Star. We've got Guzzo up in Queensland, and we've got we should. Adelaide is the logical place. Once everything just gets a little bit more normal, I think Adelaide's the logical place for us all to come and hang out and have a jam and have a meet up. I think there you go.
Absolutely.
The Studio Live Today Creative Source 2020, let's be honest, 3 conference is happening in Adelaide. There you go. Adelaide, March. This time next year, mark my words, this time next year we'll all be
If we just did like the music YouTubers convention, the Australian music YouTubers convention, me, you and Jade, we're pretty much there, really.
Yeah. That's it. We are the Australian music YouTube. So, you're right. You're spot on. There you go. You're part of a very close knit community here, folks. We did have other things to talk about, but there you go. Arspace 77 is booking their flights as we speak. So and Ashley's putting in, Melbourne.
I love Melbourne. There. Ashley, Melbourne's definitely one of my favourite cities. It's just very. It was
my home away from home. In my corporate life, I flew to Melbourne. I still remember QF 670 from Adelaide to Melbourne, 6:05 a.m. I flew that flight more times than I care to admit. But
I've a fair amount of busking at Flinders Street in the tunnels under the railway station.
I love the idea that you and Jade were both busking in the tunnels under Flinders Street Station at the same time, and you were just glaring at each other, and she was just like, who's that bloody guy over there taking all my customers? And you were like, what is she playing that Pearl Jam song for the 7th time in a row? What's going on here? I love it. I think that's exactly what we're doing.
Could be a true story. Yeah.
That is going to do. We have to finish up, or we're just going to chat forever. But Mike, thank you. Now, where folks can go, there's a couple of things that I want you to do tomorrow. So, our friend, speaking of Jade Star, our friend Jade Star, I don't know what she's put on here for the preview, but she's interviewing Ingo of Black Covers. I'll just go to the end of her preview so you can see the thumbnail here. There we go. But yeah, Ingo from Black Covers, who does some amazing orchestral covers of popular songs. So I'm gonna like this one, and I'm gonna share this one here in the chat now. So folks, go and check that one out, because that is just before you do your show, which is the winners. And look, people are already there chatting about the winners. Come on, the people, they're not even paying attention to this show. They're already over there in the chat chatting about that. And I'll give you the like back so that you've got 40 likes now, just so that you can feel good about yourself before you finish up the night. But yeah, do join that. And can I spoil anything by saying that maybe you have a special guest or two that might be dropping on by?
I do. I have a few people. I've lost track of who's coming on now, but it's going to be quite a few people on there. And I've got no structure set out. I haven't got any show plan whatsoever. I just thought,
I would be disappointed if you did.
Just whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And unfortunately, there's going to be a bunch of people in the audience going, come on, just tell me if I've won already. And I know that they won't leave, right? So I'm like, I've got a bloody captive audience here.
Your retention rate's going to be amazing. Sorry,
a captive audience. I'm going to talk crap with my guests for as long as I bloody well like tomorrow. And if you want to know if you've won or not, I know who the winners are.
So no drum rolls or anything. It's already been drawn.
They're picked. Yeah, they're picked. but I will be announcing them. I haven't emailed any of them yet, so they don't know yet. So it's a good chance to find out on the show itself.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, mate. It's always chaotic and fun, and just a bit of a roller coaster ride when you're on the show. So thank you for dropping on by. Thank you everyone for being here as well. Make sure you check out the links down in the description. You can go over to Mike's channel and make sure you're subscribed. Even if you're not into the cakewalks by the Band Labs, Mike talks about other things as well. And there's a lot of interesting stuff going on over on Creative Source. So do that. And as we say at the end of every show, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Keep creating. Any final words from you, Mike?
Exactly what you said. Kindness.
All those things.
Extremely important. Extremely important.
Just don't be a dick to people. That's all we're saying. All right. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day. And do tune in for the show with Mike tomorrow and Jay's show tomorrow.